Oh, so nearby Lucas, what do you know about some Furbies?
Well, I know that they're definitely not creepy looking.
For anyone young enough or fortunate enough to not remember the cultural dead spot known as the 90s, you may not be familiar with Furbies, a 7-inch tall ball of fur and electronics that was inexplicably linked to more conspiracy theories than the fucking moon landing, including the fact that some people thought they were spies for the Chinese. And Lucas, you have a Furby.
A mini Furby.
A little baby Furby. Look at that. Look at this little teeny tiny Furby.
It's been listening to us all the entire time.
It has. And we have to pull back the curtain on this one a little bit, Lucas, because you are familiar with this fact, because you researched it to present for an episode that I wasn't going to be in. And I was on our way here. I was like, oh, so what are you going to talk about today? You went, well, I found out that Furbies were accused of spying on us. I literally just wrote an article about that.
You wrote that article yesterday, and I researched it on my trip up today.
I should mention that today's video is sponsored by a frequent channel contributor, Spacewolf, the artist. And they have sent me a package in the mail that I'm not yet to open. So we'll open that at the end of the video.
Okay.
And also, because, they're a previous channel contributor, I should probably, this is going to be a bit of a ball ache. I even wore the last thing they sent us, which is the Spacewolf t-shirt, the Hail Science. Yeah! I came fucking prepared. Except for the fact that I didn't know how to do that.
Are you sure this is fact, Fiend?
What would you mean?
Coming prepared to a video.
But yeah, we'll talk more about that at the end of the video. But Lucas, since you already kind of know some of the details here, what is your familiarity with the Furby brand? Did you have a Furby? Did someone you know have a Furby? Did you, like I did, accidentally kill a Furby?
How did you kill a Furby? Like, those things were unkillable.
Me and my brother got one for Christmas, and my brother was like, I don't like it. So he put it upside down in a stacker box and then shut the stacker box on its head. And the very rudimentary sensors in the Furby just thought it was dark, and my mum started crying because she walked upstairs and saw the upside down Furby saying, help me, I'm scared. Apparently, we broke the servos in it because it constantly thought it was upside down in the dark and its eyes would not open. So all it would do is scream, it's dark, I'm scared. And Mum's like, you have to fix it to my dad. And he performed some emergency Furby surgery and took all of its fur off. So you had this tiny little robot just screaming with its eyes open the entire time. I'm scared, help me. And eventually my dad had to fucking mercy kill it by taking its batteries out and resetting it.
Gonna have to pull the plug.
Basically we did. We pulled the batteries out and just reset the whole thing.
I mean, my sister had a Furby and we shared a room for a while. So every now and then we'd got that thing at 3 o'clock in the morning. It'd be like, do you want to play? It's what? No, leave me alone.
And how familiar are you with the rumours about what Furby could and could not do?
I did look up a couple of different tangential rumours, including one where people believed that it had the ability to remotely launch space shuttles.
Yes, so the AI present inside a Furby was incredibly rudimentary. You could barely call it intelligence. It was a very simple but quite ingenious program that on activation, every Furby would speak, what's the language, Lucas?
It would be Furbish.
Furbish, a language invented by the people making Furbies, which is nonsense made up language. It's consisting of just various bits of gibberish. But the more you interacted with a Furby, the more its memory would be unlocked. So, its stat boost, it'd gain stats, it'd level up, and it'd put it all into speech. And the more you interact with a Furby, the more these things will be unlocked. And what it would unlock was various English or, Italian,
Obviously
Spanish, whatever
languages.
language you happen to have the Furby in. It would unlock more phrases in that language up to the point where it would learn complete sentences. And contrary to what you may have heard or maybe even experienced yourself, folks at home, Furbies could not learn, quote unquote, anything. They could only say their pre-programmed responses, but they were pre-programmed to learn the most common things they thought children would teach Furbies, such as hello, what is your name, I love you, I need a hug, let's play, that sort of thing. Or conversely, I'm scared, please don't turn out the lights, or what are you doing with that big sledgehammer, Carl's dad?
Yeah, looking this up, it's one of those things of it had 700 to 800 words pre-programmed into it. But the marketing of Furbies explicitly said they would learn from you.
Yes, which was all marketing bullshit and, lying in an advert, who'd have thought it? It's who'd have thought you could be dishonest in advertising? I never knew. And there are so many examples in media of just adverts just straight up lying in, I'd argue, a more egregious manner than this. My favourite one was an advert for a phone, where it's like, oh, look how good the camera is on our phone. Everything, and they had a little disclaimer at the bottom of the screen, everything is filmed on a phone. And then they had a shot of people like, in a car going past, and you can see in the reflection of the other car, a guy with like a $5,000 DSLR camera, as the thing at the bottom of the screen says, shot on one of our phones. And they got taken to court for that and went, well, no reasonable person would ever expect or believe that was shot on a phone, as they just have the screenshot of shot on a phone at the bottom, and they got away with that.
And that's like a fun fact that people may or may not know is like when they say that, oh, this was shot on the latest iPhone, it is, but they also have like a bunch of like extra things mounted onto the phone, like extra lenses and stuff.
That are made specifically for doing that, and there's a bunch of like legalese you can do to kind of get away with that. And that's maybe a topic for another video or article. That I guess we're both going to research and write at the same time. That simultaneous discovery, which is another thing.
We Dennis the Menace today.
I knew you were going to mention that. People Dennis the Menace, the American Dennis the Menace and British Dennis the Menace, are two completely different things. They're the same name, same basic concept, precocious child who gets into a lot of trouble. And they were unveiled on the same day in newspapers, literally a world apart, completely independently of one another. And just one of those things of just two people had the same idea at the same time, and it just so happened to be so surreptitious that they released on the same day. Bringing it back to the Furbs and the fact they couldn't launch space shuttles, the advertising Lucas mentioned was incredibly convincing, to the point where many people assumed that Furbies contained an advanced learning AI. And you might think, okay, lay people, people's moms, maybe they get confused or think that the Furby could learn, but the Furby and its advertising was so convincing that a government agency in America was convinced that they were spy bots manufactured by the Chinese. And did you happen to stumble across this fact, Lucas?
I did, yes. It was like there was a policy put out in the NSA of saying like you cannot bring Furbies to work, and I got like a quote from the policy, so I'll bring it up.
Amazing. It's like, don't bring any listening devices, including Furbies.
So yeah, according to the quote that I found, the NSA wrote in a memo, personally owned photographic, video and audio recording equipment are prohibited items. This includes toys such as Furbies with built-in recorders that repeat the audio with synthesized sound to mimic the original. And they didn't even have microphones in Furbies.
And that's the rub, yes. So if anyone's wondering, how did Furbies, could they record things? No, they could not. They had no recording equipment in them whatsoever. And this goes back to that ingenious program I mentioned earlier, where they couldn't listen to anything. All they were able to do is react to sound-based stimuli. And that would come through to the Furby's internal memory as a beep, regardless of what it was. It could be you saying hello. It could be a car horn as it's getting barreled over on the motorway. We don't know. But the pertinent piece of information is all it could do is respond to this beep, which would activate that memory thing I mentioned, which will unlock a new stage of its pre-programmed learning path to say new words. And once you know how it works, you're not going to be fooled by it, but plenty of kids were. And the government, apparently, that's the National Security Agency, and they couldn't figure this out. They couldn't just open one up and have a look inside and say, it's not a microphone.
Yeah, and then it turns out as well that the FAA also thought that it interfered with airplane systems, so you couldn't use a Furby during landing or takeoff.
Yeah, you had to turn your Furby off or put it in the hold. They wouldn't let Furbies onto planes, which led to many kids being very upset as their Furby was just manhandled and shoved into the hold. Yeah, they thought Furbies could interfere with planes, and that led to the people who made Furbies fielding a lot of really random and bizarre calls from people asking about the applications and potential uses of Furby AI, such as, could Furby AI be repurposed to drive cars?
I love the fact that this is a £30 toy and they think there's actual artificial intelligence within them.
Yeah, that's the thing. And they think it can drive a car. Can we just now smash cut to just a compilation of Teslas barreling through child-sized mannequins?
This happens over and over again.
I don't like it when people just read the headlines of an article and share it. But when I saw the one of Elon Musk is trying to remove videos of Teslas hitting child-sized mannequins from the internet. I'm like, I don't need to know anything more about that story, but the hastily cropped thumbnail on the video of the Tesla halfway through the mannequin as it just disintegrates. This is like 20 years ago and they thought these things could like pilot cars. And like modern AI in the cars can't distinguish between like a fucking like child and a pint of pillbox.
I just want to like be driving down the motorway one day and just see a Furby at the wheel.
Like, what would you do if you're in a car and you look across and it's just Furby's taking the wheel? And just his AI's like burn everything and just turn.
It's just one of those like cursed long Kirby's so it can reach the
I was waiting for someone to mention long Kirby, like the really long.
Kirby Furby.
And the owner of like the company had to like release a statement saying Furbies don't learn, they don't listen, they're not spying on you, and they don't even have the capability to do so. So even if we were spying on you, we couldn't do it with a Furby.
Yeah.
So I think like maybe they could now if they just ram. I'm not going to say it, but if we put the specific Amazon thing that you can get, that little dot, if they put that in a Furby, that could listen and all that good stuff. But no, Furbies couldn't. That's how they thought that could. Furbies were Chinese spy bots.
I don't want to just point out before we've already been corrected in the comments, but Furbish like isn't just gibberish. It does have like meaning technically behind the gibberish words.
There's like the English or is it cipher language?
The set phrases that it says in Furbish. So it's like there's rough translations of like it says this to like say do you want to play?
Until I get like a fucking like mod for The Sims where all my Sims can speak Furbish, I'm not interested. But Lucas, as I mentioned, today's video is sponsored by the artist Spacewolf. And that's like, can we just go straight away? What a fucking name.
That's a really good
What
name.
a space. And all I can think now, and I hope they don't mind me saying this, is just Wolf from Star Fox.
Well, I was thinking like, was the inspiration Star Fox? Like...
It may have been, but at the same time, just the idea of just Wolf, just like the number one jobber of the Star Fox universe, just sighed being into oblivion like an absolute hero. But as mentioned, they did sponsor a video before this lovely t-shirt, but they've sent me a very simple just list of criteria for today's plug, and they've simply said, just Spacewolf is the artist, and please just use that name. And I love when artists are like, no, fuck it, I'm Spacewolf.
Yeah.
So what's Spacewolf? What do you want me to get Spacewolf? You call me like, no, if I meet you in person, buy you a drink, you can call me whatever you want, but in the video, you call me fucking Spacewolf.
No, if you meet Spacewolf at a bar, you need to refer to them as Spacewolf.
And they said that we can use the code Fiend on, and this is how you know like they've got that branding now to a T, spacewolflimited.com to get a discount on stuff like the thing they have sent today. And I don't know what this is. So they sent this to the office, which we no longer have, and I got an email from my office saying, Karl, we've got a package for you. You can't escape that easily. And it came with this very mysterious letter. And I'm going to read it out now, and it's just Razaka. Born in the clutch of hundreds in the harsh planet of Varux, Razaka was the only one to survive to adulthood. He was exceptionally bloodthirsty and had a cold, hard desire to survive. More than that, he enjoyed the brutality of his people and world. Razaka would take on any job in any sector so long as the hunt was worthy. Right, some Predator vibes here. Without the insurmountable odds of extreme danger and deadly prey, then what is the point of bothering? Each hunt has been more deadly than the last, and yet he never failed. Razaka doesn't take trophies or require much money. Instead, he eats pieces of his victims to gain their power. Only Luscious has proved to be too much to handle. Thwarted at every turn and nearly killed multiple times, their rivalry has reached an almost religious level for Razaka the Hunter. Spacewolf. And that's just some fucking lore right there. And before I open this, the thing they've told me is that all of their art is limited run. And what they do after the original art is created and they use it to make these things, the original art is destroyed. So they can never make it again.
That's some Banksy shit.
That is some like Louis Vuitton shit. Do you like all those luxury brands that destroy their own stuff so no one else can have it? So apparently I've got one of the few of these in existence in the world, and they sent it to me for free. And all I had to do was go to my office and I'm like, you got that shit? It's like, you can't escape, Karl, you can't escape. So it's so well wrapped as well. This is really good. I might have to like ask them, you wrap my Christmas presents? Because I just normally wrap mine in Chinese takeaway wrappers. And duct tape. Ooh, that's cool. Oh, you want fuck it. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Oh, fuck yeah. That's so cool.
Oh, man.
That's so fucking rad. And it's got the Spacewolf. And it's signed as well and tells you the date that it was made. So like, this is one of the things you can get. But Lucas, we're not quite done, because do you want to pass me the even larger package on the desk?
Oh my god, yeah.
This is super fucking rad. Like, I love when we do sponsors and people send me stuff like this. Like, this is going on my fucking wall. They've sent me an even bigger one. And we'll open that in another video.
Ooh.
And if you want some cool ass shit like this and to support a rad ass sponsor who's like, reached out to collaborate with us, you can do so at the links found below. Spacewolflimited.com. The reason you've got a limited company like me.
And use the code Fiend as
Use
well,
the code
don't forget.
Fiend. I would have said Big Wanger, but I didn't get to the email in time.